So we have a brand new Nintendo Switch Online update that just hit that we will be taking a look at in the form of a game update. But before we get to that, I do want to dive into Nintendo's most recent financial quarterly investor briefing, where they gave us an updated figure around the health of NSO as a whole. And as we talk about this service, ultimately rolling forward to Nintendo Switch 2, I think the state of where it's at right now in terms of total subscribers might give us a little bit of an indication on what Nintendo might want to do around the launch of their upcoming hardware when it comes to Nintendo Switch Online, and specifically the console library it supports, in addition to overhauling the service from its core in a big way. So we're going to get on the same page with all of that info right after a quick word from today's video sponsor. Macross Shooting Insight is the latest video game adaptation of the legendary anime franchise Macross, and the first Macross video game to officially come out on Western consoles featuring English text localization. People who love anime and Japanese games should definitely check out this one. When multiple dimensional folds suddenly occur across space-time, pilots and songstresses alike find themselves inexplicably transported to the Battle 7. From there, 5 stories unfold with the fate of the galaxy at stake. Macross Shooting Insight includes fan favorite songs from all featured Macross series. Synchronize with songstresses while playing stages to activate a variety of buffs and debuffs, such as increased firepower, increased maneuverability, and reduce enemy fire speed. Experience a multi-dimensional shooting game featuring pilots and songstresses that have come together across time. Play as pilots from different time periods and go through stages made up of multiple scenes, with each scene featuring distinct game types that utilize different modes of each pilot's Valkyrie. Stages include multiple game styles such as horizontally scrolling shooting, vertically scrolling shooting, and 360-degree scrolling shooting. If you're ready for a fun space-based shooter with an engaging story, check out Macross Shooting Insight, and please use my link in the pinned comment and description down below. Big thank you to Red Art Games and Dare Drop for sponsoring today's video. So I want to first kick it off with a business update for Nintendo Switch Online from Nintendo themselves at their most recent quarterly financial investor briefing, where you can see this article over on My Nintendo News, which outlines Nintendo president says Switch Online membership level stable and has not changed. Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa has told investors that subscriptions of Nintendo Switch Online remained stable and have not changed significantly since the last reported numbers from September 2024, which was 34 million. Furukawa also assured investors that Nintendo Switch Online service will continue to be available for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2, which is scheduled for this year. The number of Nintendo Switch Online members tends to fluctuate in correlation with the release of titles that utilize online play, and it is also affected by hardware sales fluctuations. Now that the holiday season is over, the membership level is stable and has not changed significantly from the 34 million as of last September, as disclosed at last year's corporate management policy briefing. Nintendo Switch Online will continue to be available for Nintendo Switch 2. We will continue to provide comprehensive services so that consumers who purchase our hardware can enjoy their experience. So while 34 million active paying Nintendo Switch Online subscribers is a very solid number and something that Nintendo is probably largely pretty happy with, all things considered, at this point in the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, there is also not any kind of measurable increase over the holiday season specifically, and Nintendo, as they pointed out, is aware that with the fluctuation of games that come out that drive online subscription signups, if you have a multiplayer focused games, obviously while Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate continue to be played online in a big way, we haven't had some recent massive multiplayer game really hit and drive additional subscriptions to this service. Not to mention that Nintendo is kind of at the aging point of the current console libraries that they have added in there. And sure, there's still plenty of quality Game Boy Advance games that can get thrown into the service on the expansion pack tier, and we're still missing some key N64 games like DK64 and Diddy Kong Racing, and even Smash 64 for that fact. But 34 million overall staying the same over a holiday season. I do feel like Nintendo is probably at the point where they are going to want to push the envelope with this service just a little bit further, and that's where the soft relaunch is kind of what I'm expecting to see of this service for Nintendo Switch 2. And I think that you're going to have some potentially day one new console editions that line up, or at least year one. So I think GameCube, and I think maybe even Sega Dreamcast or Saturn or the DS library of games are all prime candidates to come into this service. You might remember it's been a while now, but there are for sure confirmed shipping data that do actually show that Nintendo has recently ordered large quantities of something that would fit the build of a wireless GameCube controller. Which, why are they going to reveal and announce a GameCube controller wirelessly in the modern day? Well, that would directly be what they've done with all of the other consoles when they are added into Nintendo Switch Online, minus the handhelds, of course, with the Game Boy family of systems. But that is a dedicated home console controller that is wireless, that works with your Switch family of systems. And I think when GameCube hits the service, we will get that controller, and that's what that shipping data is actually referencing. And just seeing this conversation of 34 million paid users kind of staying static over the holiday season reminds me that Nintendo probably has some pretty good stuff planned for this service in the future. They also sent out that email towards the end of last year that said, stay tuned to find out what exciting surprises the expansion pack will hold, you know, in 2025. Stay tuned for next year. And I think that stuff like the April Nintendo Direct might actually have some big surprises for us when it comes to NSO, because we also have that mysterious C button on the console that may be in reference to some kind of community center and or chat hub. And I think Nintendo's going to really drive home the online core functionality of their business with Nintendo Switch Online 2.0, or whatever it ends up being called for Nintendo Switch 2. But we know the service is rolling forward, and if Nintendo's kind of stagnant on the total amount of subscribers right now, still a strong number, no doubt, but I think they want to drive that number upwards of the 40 million plus in the early part of the next generation, which would lead you to believe they're probably going to make some pretty exciting additions to the service to get people to subscribe. And hopefully they get just a little bit more consistent on us being able to expect just a minimum of one tier, or each tier rather, gets a round of updates per month. 2025 has not been bad at all so far, and towards the end of the year in 2024 we actually saw them hit with a lot of updates. But that's where we need to shift gears and check out the new update that has officially hit for the expansion pack members. As you can see, this post from Nintendo of America, which reads, "Hey you, yeah you, join Wario on his adventure of greedy glory while exploring the Pyramid of Gold in Wario Land 4, available now for Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members." You can update your NSO Game Boy Advance app and check out this game yourself right now. And with that, we will hop right over to some Wario Land 4 gameplay. So always good to see a Game Boy Advance classic game from the past hit the service, and this is one that I'm excited to check out for the first time myself, because I did not own this as a kid or ever play it as an adult. So one of those that, you know, NSO for me sometimes just will introduce me to entirely new games, and I did see quite a bit of fanfare around this one online. So visually it looks awesome. Like, I love games from this era. I think early 2000s in terms of its Game Boy Advance release, but obviously the Game Boy Advance was kind of just taking the SNES level of visuals and elevating them with different, you know, new colors, and they kind of could expand a little bit further on than that of what the SNES could do. But I love games from this era, side scroller games, no problem. We're kind of in something of a tutorial here. As you can see, it's teaching me how I can jump and dash and things with Wario. And I think we only have 3 playable on the service, if I'm not mistaken, as of right now. Like, I think Wario Land 1 and 2 are missing from the Game Boy, if I'm not mistaken. So sometimes Nintendo doesn't necessarily always release these in order. With Donkey Kong Land, they did it the right way and actually had all of them. I guess I can hold down the R button and run even faster. Okay, that's pretty cool. So you know, they had the Donkey Kong Land games all added in the correct direction. They actually, okay, so let me see what I have to do here. So R and then hold down and jump at the same time. So we're just gonna get a running start here, and then nope, that is not the button I wanted to hit. So as long as we hit the jump button correctly, there we go, and then that'll let us through. You know, we saw certain games get added in the correct order. Wario Land all over the place, 3 and then 4, and then we're gonna miss 1 and 2. But you know, we may get them sooner or later. I am liking the NSO update so far this month. I'm really hopeful that, or this year rather, I'm really hopeful that if we do indeed see the February Nintendo Direct, that we may have another round of updates, because, you know, like we were talking about from the business side of things, guys, if Nintendo isn't gaining subscribers, are they really okay? I can throw that rock apparently, and I messed that up. So so B is going to be, I am pressing B, but that is not, oh, okay, I can pick it up first by just standing next to it, and then I can throw it. Okay, there we go. You gotta bear with me here when we're talking and playing games. Very difficult at times. I am hoping that some kind of N64 update, maybe a roadmap of games, something at the February Direct would be really nice. But I'm really starting to shift my expectations towards the bigger stuff probably just being saved for that April time direct for, you know, NSO 2.0 or, you know, whatever Nintendo ends up opting to rebrand it. Maybe they don't rebrand it at all and it's just called Nintendo Switch Online, but maybe it's called Nintendo Switch Online 2. You know, I think they're going to do something to kind of signify that it's the 2 version, and I think they probably add in some. Okay, so it's definitely telling me to do something specific here that I'm missing. Okay, I think I can just throw this from right here. But, you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to rebrand it NSO 2, give us GameCube, something like that, and then we will ultimately start to see a whole nother library of games be eligible to get added month in and month out, which will definitely be a big win. So this rock is causing me more harm than it needs to. But I think, okay, so if we do up B. Now, I definitely can't make it from there. Okay, you guys can make fun of me in the comments for not being able to figure this out, but let's see. Okay, so that's what we were missing. So it was trying to get me to throw the rock up, and then after I throw the rock up, I can then crawl through this space. So that was easier than I made it out to be. But hey, sometimes when you're brand new to a game, the simple things just do you in for a loop. And once again, we're gonna have a problem right afterwards, right here. And I think, is there not a way to charge up that throw? There has to be. Yeah, okay, there is a way to charge up the throw. We are learning together here. You guys may already know. If you already played this game, you're probably like, gosh, come on, dude, figure it out. But you know, I will just tell you, I know we're just kind of going through the tutorial here, but controls extremely responsive, fun from like a gameplay perspective overall. You do have to, it's good that they give you kind of a tutorial, because it looks like stuff like that you need to know is even possible, and it takes them kind of pointing it out to you at first before you get a feel for what your abilities all are. I don't know if there are like boss fights and stuff like this in this game. If anything, I think this is just kind of like, for me right now, making me ask the question, well, why is Nintendo totally not doing anything with the Wario Land IP? You know, like, obviously we're in this era now where they only have to develop for one console, and they need some easier projects to hold them over while the bigger projects take time. You know, I'm not saying you have to go crazy with it and release one, you know, multiple Wario Land games per generation, but I do think it'd be kind of cool to see like an occasional Wario Land game come back. And you know, I would almost say, I know the WarioWare is more their party game type of scenario, but I would almost say that this in my opinion could be equally, if not more fun than the Wario Land games, you know. And I think we can make it right there, charge it up. That is not gonna, okay, so maybe if we throw that from here, and that's gonna get us what we need there, and I think we can make it to this portal, and that's gonna be it. So kind of cool. Once you hit that button, it just starts a timer. I'm assuming that like every level from here is just gonna be exactly what that was, but without the tutorial portion. So I'm pretty, you know, down to play this game for longer. It's definitely, you realize how much nicer the Game Boy Advance games and that era looks than even the Game Boy whenever we get those games added in, like not having color and a smaller screen and all of that. Like Game Boy Advance looks really nice on this console, and obviously on an OLED edition console. So let me know what you guys hope we see next for Nintendo Switch Online. Do you think there's a shot of anything getting added in the month of February in terms of like a Nintendo Direct type of drop? Do you think that Nintendo is holding back everything until, you know, maybe something like the April Direct or that kind of thing? And what games that are missing right now from the current console library would you like to see added? And really the biggest thing, what console library do you think we'll see added next? Because I'm leaning towards GameCube for Nintendo Switch Online 2 on Nintendo Switch 2 at this point, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. So we'll end the video here. Make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.